Godzilla.
In space!
Well, for the first half of this movie, at least. Alright, so Invasion of the Astro-Monster. I know in the US it's called Godzilla vs. Monster Zero or just Monster Zero, but I call Godzilla movies by their international titles. So, Godzilla vs. Monster Zero and Monster Zero are the US titles. Invasion of the Astro-Monster is the international title. And the Japanese title of this movie is Kaiju Daisenso, which translates to The Great Monster War. So the year is 1960X. Not exactly sure what the X means. Anyway, scientists have discovered a planet that lies between Jupiter and Saturn called Planet X. Two astronauts, Glenn and Fuji, Glenn played by American actor Nick Adams, and Fuji, played by Akira Takarada from Godzilla, are sent to explore the planet. It turns out the planets are inhabited by aliens called Exaliens. They're never called that in the movie, but due to a future film where they appear, I'm calling them Exaliens. They tell our heroes that they are forced to live underground and can't walk on the surface of Planet X because a monster keeps invading their planet, which makes it basically uninhabitable to live on. They've dubbed the monster Monster Zero, which was no shock to Japanese audiences when this movie came out. Monster Zero was King Ghidorah. So the Exaliens ask our heroes if they could borrow Godzilla and Rodan to fight Ghidorah and keep him from invading Planet X. Earth agrees, but Glenn suspects that there might be something more sinister afoot. Okay, I will never do that again. I apologize. So this movie, in terms of, like, monster cast, is pretty much the same thing as Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, except with the addition of aliens and more science fiction elements, and the subtraction of Mothra, who originally was going to be in the movie, but because the budget got too big, she was scrapped. Although I like to think of it that the Exaliens were smart enough not to ask for Mothra also, because the Twin Fairies would be too smart and would know something's up. So I think that's a cool way for saying Mothra is not in this movie. Also, one thing, for Nick Adams, this is the first time a Godzilla movie has had an American actor as the star, and it's not part of the US version, it's part of the Japanese version also. Although in the Japanese version, I should probably note that Akira Takarada is the one that got top billing in the Japanese version, whereas here, Nick Adams is the one that gets top billing. Throughout the whole production, everyone was speaking Japanese, except for him, so in the American version, he's not dubbed over. But in the Japanese version, he was dubbed over in Japanese. Which is probably my only problem with the Japanese version of any Godzilla movie, is watching him basically speak English, but the dialogue that you hear is Japanese. So it's the reverse role of bad lip sync that really is hard for me to take anything seriously, which is why for any foreign movie, if it's ever dubbed over, I always suggest you watch the Japanese version, because you'll take it a little more seriously. Well, as seriously as you can with Godzilla dancing around. I'll put a link in the description box for that Godzilla dance, if you really haven't seen it. There's a scene after Godzilla and Rodan defeat Ghidorah on Planet X, where Godzilla does a little victory dance, which the special effects director, Eiji Tsuburaya, was the one who wanted to do it, but the suit actor, Haru Nakajima, and director Shiro Honda were completely against it. I think the final word came from producer Tomiyuki Tanaka that it's gonna be in the movie. I like the human characters, and this movie introduced the Monster Zero March, which is usually a march that plays for that, or in my mind, it's associated with giant monster rumbles. It's so energetic. The theme originally started out in the first Godzilla with the Japanese Army March, and then in another science fiction movie, Battle in Outer Space, as the main theme for that movie. This is where that theme was finally perfected as the Monster Zero March. And it's a pretty energizing theme, just listen to it. In the end, Invasion of the Astro-Monster is fun, it's goofy, but you'll be entertained. So it's definitely worth seeing. So the next two Godzilla movies would not be directed by Honda, and I'll talk about those tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. So, till then, see you guys later.